Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And with Relic Delta encroaching on us, I wanted to take a moment and talk briefly, at least I hope briefly, about mods and the change to your mod farming approach. Pause for dramatic effect. The way we've dealt with mods has always been very speed focused. You don't care, like everybody just wants speed. Speed, 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 speed. You go to any mod chat and it's always somebody showing off how fast their mod is, without regard for the stats on that mod. It could be a tenacity primary defense set with 28 speed, flat offense, flat health, flat protection, and someone will be touting it off saying, look how cool this is. We need to change that, because Relic Delta is 1000% devaluing speed. If you don't believe me, listen, understand what I'm going to be showing you here, and you'll start to see what I have been doing in my account now for months, for years even, if I'm being honest, for years, and how you're going to need to start adjusting the way you approach mods. With that said, folks, like, subscribe, comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please continue just to support the channel. I know we're going through some slumps, guys. It is what it is. I'm dealing with I'm doing everything I can to keep this stuff going, while also just making sure that the home front, everything's fine there. We got a lot of stuff going on, so I appreciate everybody. Keep the faith, believe in me through good, bad, hot takes, bad takes, mod takes, whatever it is. Thank you again. Let's get in here and let's talk about why speed is not going to be the way to be focused when you're farming mods. Alright, so as I said, for a long time in this game, all that people focus on is speed. It doesn't matter if that mod is, oh, defense on a health set. Oh, well, it's 26 speed, Phil. That's a really good mod. Or, hey, Phil, this mod on, and I'm trying to find one that's like, that I haven't had to upgrade. Got to get through the people. Here we go. Like this one on Thrawn. Oh, well, it's 25 speed, Phil. That's a really good mod. These are the kind of mods that nowadays are not going to be worth as much. Because Relic Delta and Relic 10, what do they add? They add stats. As your account grows, one of the things I started to realize with relics and with gear and all this stuff was that you get more out of mods the higher relic that character. Like, the more relics you have on a character, the more physical damage, all that kind of stuff. Like, if you look at physical damage, right? You've got Jedi Knight Luke, he's got a crazy amount of physical. But when you start to look through the characters with physical damage, you start to see where, hey, these higher relic characters seem to have more physical than others. Not that it's a hard and fast rule, right? Like Safeguard Lando, he's obviously got a lot of physical offense, right? I'd love to get more on him. And he's also only Relic 6, so there's that. But you think about like your Relic 5 Dark Trooper. If I start increasing Dark Trooper's relic levels, all of a sudden this dude's gaining more physical offense. He's going to be hitting harder and harder. So one of the things that you have to wrap your head around is that the speed on a character is important, but only to the extent that there's stats associated with it. Because now the game has evolved. Back in the day, speed was king. Everything was just about the speed. It didn't matter if you were, like, it was a lot of mirror matches or direct counters where it's just move first and control the fight. Nowadays, a lot of fights aren't about moving first. They're about bringing the right counter. They're about having that control over the fight based on their kit and not necessarily based on their speed. Think about using, if you're in GAC, think about using Balin, or, you know what? Here's a perfect example. Think about using Wampa in any fight right now. I can't tell you the last time my Wampa took the first turn in a fight. Right? It's not happening. But Wampa still wins because once Wampa starts taking his turns, our king goes to town and beats that team. The fight isn't about Wampa being faster than everybody else in the other team. It's just about Wampa surviving to the point that he can start dealing his damage. Think about a similar situation with, say, Sith Eternal Emperor. He's almost never the fastest person on the field. And, for GLs, he's one of the slowest GLs. Not about him moving, before everybody else. It's just about him taking his turns, linking up, right? And you start getting down in some of these other characters. It's not about them being the fastest person on the field as much as it is about, hey, are they dealing the damage? Are they performing the function that they're meant to form? So what I want you guys to start thinking about now is switching your focus from just a purely speed-based metric to thinking about the stats. Look at your character and ask yourself the question, are they going to be able to perform the function I need them to? Think about Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. My Kylo is very slow but like 573 speed is pretty slow. Yet at Relic 8, I've got 12,630 offense. I've got 42% crit damage. I share this guy's mods a lot because we've got some very good ones on here. But I could put faster mods on my Kylo in certain places. But I'm not concerned about putting faster mods because I have the mods on him with the mix of stats that I want. Especially on Galactic Legends, a couple of speed is not going to make as much of a difference as additional stats. Because GLs are already going to be the faster characters on the field. Think about Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. She's already going to be one of the fastest characters on that field. Would you rather find a faster, if I'm looking at this, would I rather get a mod with extra speed? Or am I content that 15% defense is friggin' awesome? Right? Are you, where are your concern? Where's your concern? Is it more about getting the right, hey, I'm going to squeeze out a few extra speed, make her faster? Or do I want to have as much friggin' defense on her as possible so she can tank longer in that fight? But this goes beyond just Galactic Legends. It goes into your other characters as well. Now, not quite to the same extent as GLs at times where, they're in the hundreds of, 300s of speed. So a speed set on them is a no-brainer. A character like, say, Great Mothers, if I sacrifice this for if I'm running a speed set on her, she's already only so fast, so that can be a different, conversation to have. But if you can get some extra stats on her, some extra offense or defense, whatever you want to put on her, gets that much harder to kill her, gets that much harder to deal with her. I'm more than willing to sacrifice a few speed on a character if it means that I can get stats on them to make them a bigger threat. Like, you're never going to notice the difference. Let's go down to, say, Starkiller. You would not notice, mine is 291. I see a lot of people with Starkiller over 300 speed. You're not going to notice 9 extra speed on my Starkiller. Right? Or if I switch this one out, you're not going to notice 7 extra speed on Starkiller because I'm running a speed arrow. But you'll notice the difference between having 8.5% offense and having 4% offense. One of the common mistakes we make is we get so focused on the speed that we start to forget that other stats matter. And I think especially, again, as I've said, been saying all along, you've got to think about Relic 10, Relic Delta. As you're increasing Relic levels, there's more stats to be had. You get more out of a character's stats when they're at a higher Relic. So moving a character from Relic 3, yeah, probably more speed is important. But as you get into 5 to 7, 8, 9, and then 10, stats completely take the cake. And I think with Relic Delta, that's going to be more important than ever. So if I can encourage you guys with your mods to be more stat focused, to think about them from the perspective of, hey, I'm not worried if I can get the most amount of speed out of it. Is it going to get me the most amount of stats? Speed being one of those stats. But is it going to get me the health, protection, offense, defense, potency, tenacity, whatever the hell it is it going to get me the most of everything that I need in order for that character to perform at the highest level possible? If you can do that, if you can get started with that now, it's going to make your account that much better moving forward, because as you start increasing these relic levels, you're going to get more benefit from them faster. Mods have always been this thing that filled the gap for relic levels. That you could have a, Relic 8 Kylo, your opponent could have Relic 9 Kylo, but if yours had better mods, you could make up for that difference in relics. That's the mentality that you need to have now. right? Speed is no longer going to be the only thing you can afford to care about. You need to care about the totality of the stats on them. Otherwise, Relic Delta is going to hit you harder than anything else. You're going to need to be able to minimize that impact, and I think this speed focus, these accounts who all they've cared about is speed for the longest time, they're the ones that I think are going to get hurt the most. And that's why I think I'm saying mods are going to lose some of their value, right? I still think to an extent some other mods will, because relic levels will take over, but I think speed especially is losing value. Because who cares if you can move first? If you can't deal as much damage as the opponent, it's not going to matter. And in a lot of fights, I can tell you from my GAC experiences, I'm often not moving first in a lot of the fights I go up against. And yet I'm still winning because I'm not worried. I don't need to take the first turn. I don't even need to take the second or the third turn. I just need to be able to get to my turns and start doing the plays that my characters are modded for, which is stats. So guys, that's my, brief modding, high horse, whatever the hell you want to call it. You've got to switch. It's going to be important. You're getting to the point now where your account's going to have more relics, where there's more at stake. Having 2% more offense may not sound like a lot when a character's at Relic 3 or Relic 5, but having 2% more at Relic 7 or Relic 8 is a big difference and can sway the result of fights a lot more than you think. Or having all that extra defense on your tanks will allow them to hang around for maybe one turn longer and get that last play out. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you perspective on how to change your mindset moving forward. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.